Okay, so I'm here with Billy Kirkwood. It's great to have you, mate. How are you doing today?
Mate, I'm all right. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Not too bad. Here we are on the 10th. What did I say the date? I don't know. September 10th. It could be
Yes.
a lot, get a lot worse. We're here. We're alive. Let's. Am I right to swear in this?
Yes, of course, of course.
Let's fucking do this. That's my attitude. Nah, I'm good, mate. I'm a box of fluffy ducks. I'm rock and rolling. I don't. I never know how to answer that question because see, I do like a radio show, and we're based up at Radio Clyde. And every day you'll just see someone else in passing at 5 in the morning. They'll go, "How you doing? You all right?" And I always go, or they say, "How you doing?" I always go, "Fucking terrible, hellish," and I just keep walking, just to keep them on their toes, because everyone always goes, "Fine, fine," and I just go, "Oh, fucking awful, Jesus Christ! Oh, I think I broke my dick this morning. I'll keep going, just to give them something to talk about." Just to give them a different answer. Just to give them a different answer.
That's it. Too many people say they're fine when they're not. That's the problem, isn't it?
Exactly.
I mean, I was the king of that when I was really deep in depression and stuff. I was the king of being like, I'm fine, I'm great, and I was totally like not telling it like that.
Everybody does that, man. Like
Aye.
you're not. You're not like, I'm fine. It's just an automatic reaction. What are you meant? If you're having a really bad day, what are you meant to do? Like, how you meant to surmise everything that's going on in your brain? Going, actually, it's kind of fucking hellish. I'm worried about death. I'm worried about the future. I couldn't sleep last night. Do you know? I had a job, with a bit of blood in it. Like, are you literally just meant to bring all your problems into one conversation? Always annoys me though. That's it. Always annoys me. If someone stopped me and go, "Are things all right? Anything you need to talk about?" I'm probably more likely to answer that truthfully than how you doing? I am.
Well, exactly. Like
at this current moment, walking down a corridor carrying my phone, I am absolutely fucking cherry poppins.
That's it, mate. I mean, you need to be more open with the question. If you actually want to know how the person's feeling, don't be like, "Are you all right?" Because they're just going to say, "Aye." Do you know what I mean?
I'm just thinking, how much of a miserable bastard does that make it sound? Like somebody asks you, "How you doing? You all right?" It's like, "Oh, I am fine," but we're giving them a hard time. I mean, what you meant to say? Hello, high five.
Well, that's the thing. It's interesting. We're talking about this on World Suicide Prevention Day.
Yeah. It's a pet peeve of mine that, you know, it sounds terrible. We're getting into this so quickly, but do you know, I'm a big advocate of mental health and mental. I hate the term mental illness, but I guess it does address when someone is having a hard time. Your mental health is low. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. I hate the term mental illness, but one of my pet peeves is that we do get people talking, and probably people are talking about more than they used to. But one of my absolute pet peeves is people not listening. They've got their own problems, or they maybe don't, or they're maybe, "Hey, how are things?" And they're waiting for that person to stop talking so they can either start talking about their problems, which is fine, but you do still have to listen, because you know something, the key to some of your issues may actually be tied up in what the other person's saying. And I know that, see, every time I say that, I always think that must make me sound like a right bastard, that people just, but you see, if you're just not listening to each other, but you're telling each other, "Oh, this has happened. Oh, well, you should have heard what happened to me." It's like when you say you've got the cold, and someone else goes, "Oh, Jesus, I'm terrible with the cold." Not turning around and going, "Do you want a lemsip? You all right? Can I get you anything?"
Yeah,
you know, because
exactly.
I'm not feeling too good myself, and I was just going to go and get one. That's a completely different conversation. But if someone's saying to you, "So really, how are things? How are you feeling? Because you've seemed a bit down. I mean, we've all got problems. Is there anything I can help you with?" And if someone goes, "No, I'm fine," it's like, "Come on, no, come on, tell me. It is okay. It is okay." What's the phrase? It's okay to not be okay. And I just wish people would make more time to have those conversations, because I think they're important.
I think that's it's an amazing point to make, because the phrase is always, "Let's talk about it, let's talk about things." You're not really achieving anything about talking about things if no one's listening to you. And listening to somebody is such like a lost skill, it feels like.
I think so.
Yeah. And that's the thing of, if we want to actually change the conversation and help these people, the way that it helped me, for example, with, like, in terms of even just communicating with people, you have to be able to give and take. It needs to be actually listening to what the person's saying and actually getting to the bottom of it. Like you say, it's this idea of, like, if you say something like, "Oh, I've got the cold," and they'll go, "Oh, I had that last week." It's like, It's not getting to be Elvis TV right now, is it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, cheers. Oh, thanks very much. Do you know, it's such a one-upsmanship. I don't know if it's a generational thing. I don't know if it's a historic thing. Maybe it's just fear. Like, I don't know, maybe if in the 1950s, if two zoot suit guys at the side of a car, one of them went to the other one, how you feeling? How's the mental health? Everything all right?
Right.
They would just freak the fuck out. Who the fuck asked you and stab each other? I've no idea if that's how it works, because men particularly don't talk that way.
Yeah.
But do you know that whole male masculinity gender imbalance thing is complete bullshit, because some of my best friends are women and they could talk to me about anything. I know I could talk to them about anything, and but it's also hard to open up. Like, I'll use an example, and this is close to home, but I'll use an example. My dad died 3 weeks ago, and the number of people, and it was great. I'm like, I've got to say, the number of people who reached out and sent me messages I was blown away by it. Because if nothing else, I think during this time of lockdown, there's so many things going on. Like, I don't think anybody's in good shape. I think we're dealing with things, but I think deep down, every single person, I have not met one person that has truthfully said, I've loved lockdown. It's the best time of my life. Like, I have not met one person that's fucking said that and convinced me. Let's put it that way. But the number of people who would say things like, "Oh, do you know, if you need to talk, if there's anything," and I would go, "No, I'm fine." And realistically, probably I'm not. Like, I took 2 weeks. Like, I continued on the radio and kind of gigging for 2 weeks, and then I've taken a couple of weeks off, and I've probably done more unpacking mentally over it in that period than I'd done at any point. And maybe I will reach out to people and talk about them, because it is like, it's a hard state of affairs to address all that. But there was a lot of people that did reach out and go, and it always makes me wonder how many, if I had a win, actually I would like to talk about this, but it was also too soon. Like, I get about the fact that people are like, I hadn't processed
totally
how I feel about it. And I think that's a real problem with anyone with mental health issues is that they don't get the time to process how they feel about it.
Yes.
Like, because the thing is, so many of us are just coping and getting on with life. Like, I mean, how many people, I mean, there must be people go, it's Billy, he's fine. He's all right, he's fine. And I'm sure people say that with you, and I'm sure, you know, they're fine in life. They're okay. But maybe we're not. You know, and it's and if someone put me on the spot and went, "Are you all right? Is everything okay?" Aye. Why? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Why? You know what I mean? Like, are you being grumpy? Are you been out of sorts? It's a fucked up situation. God, that's got deep fast.
That's a really hard thing to go through, and the way that you're dealing with it is admirable, even just from the way you're talking to you just now and talking to you before we started recording here. But when you're trying to process something like that, you're talking about how, you know, you don't have the time to figure it out yourself. How helpful is that kind of support in that kind of time? Like,
people reaching out to you, I think is a huge boost. Like, I genuinely think is a huge boost. And really looking out for each other. I mean, in terms of me, like me and my brothers, for example, who are three, sorry, that's terrible. Three of us are three very different people.
Yeah.
But we were able to talk open and candidly during a short space of time.
Mm-hmm.
That meant a lot. Like, the fact that I reckon that one of my brothers lives in New Zealand, but I reckon if I'd have phoned him at 4 a.m. and went, "I'm not dealing with this," okay. That would be, but then we've discovered that we're three very different people, even mentally, how we would deal with these things. Like, it's quite funny because one of my brothers says I'm the dead hooker guy. Like, if you find a dead hooker in your hotel room at 3 a.m, you phone Billy because he'll know what to do. I mean, I might not. It might take me a couple of weeks for him. Like, oh my God, he killed a woman. You know, like, I know that sounds terrible, but on the time and something's happened, I can go, right, this is what we do.
Yeah.
And people mistake that for, I think you're dealing with it okay, but I think it's just a defense mechanism. Yeah. Like, maybe it's because what I do for a living as a stand-up comedian. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows where that came from, being like, I don't get flustered as quick as I might do in certain situations.
You're used to like being able to think on the spot.
Maybe there's a real element of that about it.
Mm.
But I think just in general, physically talking, and man, I still feel like a twat when like you're finding yourself getting angry at someone and they haven't done anything, and you go, I know this is about me. I know I'm angry and I shouldn't be angry because I'm not that person. Maybe I'm tired. I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. I expect I'm a grumpier prick than I ever used to be. But when you do find yourself and someone goes, "Are you all right? Are you all right? You're seeming like," and you're angry because they're blinking, but that's you that's got a problem, and you can feel bad about going. It's just, so someone turns around and says to me,
such a huge point to make. Honestly, I can relate to that so much.
You know what I mean? Someone turns around to you and goes, so Kieran, you fucking snapping at me all morning. Are you all right? You can't turn around and go, "You fucking blinking." It's not them blinking. It's nothing to do with that. But you might put on the spot. What are you meant to say?
Yeah.
What are you meant to say? It's like, well, at the moment it is you blinking, but it's because I didn't get any sleep last night because of X, and I'm worried about that, or maybe I just had a hard day, or maybe my confidence is just a bit low. Maybe I had a pizza last night and I should have had a fucking bowl of fucking corn or something. I don't know.
You're so spot on with that. I mean, it's that you don't that it's not you really when you feel like that.
Yeah.
I've snapped at people and been like, why did I just say that to them? You think about it later on, you're like, man, why did I do that? My main thing of doing it is just whenever I feel like that, I just pop into the gym and do 20 minutes of cardio and come back out a different person. Not like, we're okay now,
Do you know, man, every time, and it's such a ridiculous thing, but every time I can equate a period in my life where I have not I felt mentally off, I can equate it to either a period of non-exercise or lack of exercise. Like I genuinely can. I mean, I do yoga and I instantly feel better, and I find that I actually do have the capacity to be able to go, I'm being a bit of a cunt about that.
Yeah.
And this is somebody that has like 3 kids as well, so I know that I can't snap. Even at that, you find yourself snapping at your kids, and you're going, "What the fuck am I snapping at my kid for?"
Yeah,
he's a kid. Like, because I've got 3 kids. I've got an oldest boy that has high functioning autism. My middle son has a couple of behavioural issues, and it's really easy to snap at them because they're doing something that is, don't get me wrong, they're doing something that's fucking crazy, like they're crying because you gave them the cookie they asked for.
Yeah.
That type of, you're like, what the fuck are you doing to me? But it's like, they're not doing anything to you. They're not sitting there at night writing out plans, going, I'm going to fucking fucking get them in the morning. You know what I mean? The reason I'm snapping is because maybe there's something else going on, or I'm thinking about something else, and maybe the fact that I can't control the situation. But we can't really control any situation, and the
only thing you can control is how you process it.
The only thing you control, and I use an example of last night. My middle son didn't want to get in the shower. Then he wanted to get in the shower. Then he didn't want to get in the shower. And he wanted to get in the shower. Then I put him in the shower, and he wanted to get out of the shower. And when I brought him out of the shower, he wanted to get in the shower. And this went back and forth until he finally got in the shower. And then about maybe 3 minutes later, apparently he punched his brother, who was also in the shower, in the belly. So I went, right, and I went marching upstairs, and I got him out of the shower, and there it is, and he's roaring at me because he doesn't see what he's done wrong. He's punched his brother and all that, and it was getting really tense, and he's getting upset, he's screaming at me, no, and then in the middle of it, and I'm getting uptight, and then I realised it's like, one of them's coming in now. Hello? Oh, talk of the devil. Hello? Can I say hello to Kieran?
Hello, Kieran.
Hi.
That was a good attempt.
Oh,
All right, can you go just now? Daddy's going to finish. Oh,
that's great. Oh,
his mum didn't look happy. He was in it all. But in the middle of that, I'd stopped and just hugged him.
Yeah.
And went, "Are you all right? Are you all right? Is everything all right?" Because even to a little kid on the most basic elements, whatever was going on in his situation, it's like, why are you upset? It's because they got me a shower. We shouldn't have him. And we're not best friends anymore. Is that because I got you in trouble? Yeah. Oh, come here. You're going to be fine. And then calmed him down, and it calmed me down.
Yeah.
So that's like on a base level, like an issue with 2 people that are having a hard time just working it out. And yeah, I forget where I went with that, but I do ramble.
No, that was one of the best rambles I've ever heard, to be honest, because it's like you touch on so many things there where you go, it's very accurate in the sense of just being able to take yourself out of that moment and being like, this isn't helping the situation. And
it's really something I'm trying to work on. It's like really, really something I'm trying to work on. And I don't know where it's came from. Like, I think I might have seen it in like a help video somewhere. Just like, if I can't control this situation, how do I just completely change the direction on it? Take myself out of the situation, particularly if I'm the problem. The only thing I can control is, and we were talking about, lockdown. Like a friend of mine who's a nurse phoned me when London was bad. And I know that these are spiking in cases and what have you now, but when London was bad, and he was freaking out. Like, he phoned me, and I don't even know Tim that well personally, but we've become friends. And he phoned me, a nurse on the front line, and that's why he was freaking out, because obviously this is when the media were going, 1,000 nurses infected today. Like, they were really going all out, and it was just it was getting silly. And these are the poor guys that are on the front line, and they're meant, like, nurses are the most wonderful, doctors and nurses are the most wonderful people on the earth, most selfless, particularly nurses, most selfless people on earth, but they are just people at the end of the day. And he phoned me randomly, and sometimes I'm better at giving advice than I am taking it, I think I would be fair to say. But he phoned me and he was reading about the stories, and he's like, we're never going to be able to cope. There's going to be people dying in the streets. There's going to be, what am I going to do? I'm going to get infected. And I just calmed him down and went, look. None of those situations are going to happen. You can only worry about controlling the situations of which you've got control over. Like, you can control them. So focus on that. Don't worry about the rest of the stuff. That'll never get to that point. You can control, like, you know what I mean? Like, look, when we locked it down, that proved that this can sort things out. You know what I mean? And nobody wants that again by any stretch of the imagination. But and it was talking him down, and it was like, bloody hell. Maybe it was from that, the idea of only worrying about the things we can control. Yeah,
totally. I mean, that, and you're helping somebody that's obviously, like you say, in the front line, in the middle of something that you would never have thought it would be.
I've got his book here somewhere. I should hold it up. He wrote a book. I should find it. Hang on. I'll do a plug. Fuck it. Sorry, Tim. Sorry, Tim.
But, see, the fact you were able to do that for him, would have made the world a difference. And just being able to have somebody to phone to give you that different perspective of being like, you're worrying about nothing here, just take yourself out of it and calm yourself down a bit.
Maybe that was it. We know each other as. I mean, I wrote a bit for his book on mental health, and it wasn't necessarily about me being some advocate. It was more of, he wanted things from a comedian's point of view.
Yeah.
And it was just a little chapter, and I was very lucky he put it in his book, and so we kind of came from. I think it was the wrestling connection from it, to be honest. I think that's where he knew me from. In fact, I know that's where he knew me from. But then again, there would be other people that maybe would go, well, I'm not fucking taking that call. I don't know this guy. We're only Facebook pals, or we've only met once or twice. It's like, man, I don't mind talking to anybody.
Because helping someone in that situation is the best thing you can do. I mean, you touched on comedy there, and it made me wonder. One of the biggest things everyone says about comedians all the time is this idea of comedians are like messed up or mentally have mental problems or whatever, because they're when you look at people like Robin Williams, for example, one of the happiest, mentaliest people that ever went, probably at one point probably the funniest guy in the world, and nobody would have seen what time was coming. So is that perception of comedians accurate?
I think so, to a degree. Like, I don't know if it's always kind of sincere. Like, it's a kind of a hard one to talk about, because you're like, you're going to be a bit mental to be a comedian, or do you actually physically mean that we're all damaged? I don't think. I think the focus with that is, I think everyone's a little damaged in their own way. How can we get through this life without being a bit damaged? Like, I know. Hey, some of the most well-balanced people I know are in comedy, and some of the biggest fucking nut jobs. But I mean that with great love and I mean, look at Robin Williams. He was high functioning and he had depression and addiction issues. And at the end of his life, it was, it was a brain disorder that effectively. There's a brilliant documentary called Robin's Wish. If anyone wants to watch that, Robin Williams was my comedy hero, so I watched that with great interest. But in terms of, I think you're right. I think most people consider it's weird. Like even I think I'm fairly okay functioning. Dare I suggest? But if you tell someone you're a comedian, they do go, "Oh,
yeah,
all right."
I've always thought that it was because comedians are like the most themselves anyone could be. Do you know what I mean? Like comedians come across to me like they're fully being themselves in the way they are and really putting themselves out there and just enjoying the kind of ride of it all. And I think that gets misconstrued by somewhat normal people living the kind of day-to-day basic office job life. Look at comedians and go, that's weird to me because do you know what I mean? They can't imagine being that honest with themselves and being that version of themselves that's just out there.
I think the onstage version of me is definitely is probably me at my most relaxed and my most like open, but I'm also aware, and I just think about just some of the horrible things I've said over the years, some of the most wild things. Like I would never say this in any other company, but I'd definitely say there's a difference as an onstage persona. I mean, I can only speak for myself in that regard, because if I'm just walking down the street, if I'm just getting shopping, if I'm just being a dad to my kids, I'm a very different person.
Yeah.
In fact, that's unfair. If I'm playing with my kids, then there probably is more in common with the guy on stage, because
does it almost feel as if it's like your alter ego? It's like
I think there's a real definite, like, I know there's a switch to get. I know I think it's been broken down before. It's like getting into a state.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people can jump into it, some people can walk into it. Like I've said, I can get shy about talking to 2 people, but I don't give a fuck about talking to 3,000. Like I would like, I need you to jump up on this table, Billy, and get everyone's attention. Not a problem.
Aye.
But can you go and ask that guy if they've got a white emulsion in? I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
That's a really interesting point, because I know people that don't want to phone, like don't want to go in the don't want to phone a taxi themselves. You know what I mean? They don't want.
Yeah. Oh man, I hate phone and takeouts. I fucking hate phone and takeouts.
I used to be that person where it was those kind of things, and that example you used, the best thing I can compare it to is like I used to play football on goals on my knees. We'd play for days, and I would be diving in front of the ball. Like, I wanted to save it, I wanted to be great, but see, as soon as I took those gloves off, if you try to throw a ball at me, I'd go like, oh no.
It's one of those things, and I mean, I'll joke that there's several different Billys living in here, but that's an element of that becomes so I guess diversity. Former, like the guy that does the radio in the morning, he is not the same guy that you'll see on stage at a stand on a Saturday night. It's not. They're just they sound the same. They look the same, and there may be elements about them that are the same, but one of them is freer than the other. But one of them thinks in a way that the other one never could. Like, one of them...
With radio, do you feel like you're more limited then, in a sense?
Do you know, initially, I kind of did, but I knew that would have to be the case. Like, I knew I can't come on effing blinded. I know I can't come on and talk about anything I want. But that's a skill to learn. That's another gear to shift into. It wasn't like a bad thing. If anything, if I'd have tried to be the guy on stage on Saturday night every day with new material and new things to talk about every single day, I would have burnt out in 6 months.
Yeah.
I'd have burnt out in 6 months. But the guy in the morning, he gets to think in a very different way, and he gets to be a little more gentle, but a little more fun and a little more conversational. Like in the way you would have a conversation in a coffee shop, as opposed to the guy on a Saturday night who's like, well, somebody shut that fucking tosser up.
Yeah.
It's but like here, you're talking to a mix, I would say, between the two. right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm kind of like, I'm happy to talk about anything, but I know that I know I'm free to talk whatever way I want.
Yeah, feel free.
But I choose, but then you don't want to listen to me talking about wank and backhand. Nobody needs to hear that, right? Doesn't work, by the way. You're just doing it back of your hand. You can't feel anything. Stupid. Nobody needs to hear me talking about like when I shat myself on a seesaw, which is just a tragic fucking story. But yeah, I think with comedians, there is the. Do you know? Is there a mental health issue, or is there an ability to open up that some people are maybe a little scared of? They want to go to the office, they want to come home, they want to watch Coronation Street, they want to have a rolling sausage and go to their bed.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Like they want to go to the football, they want to go to the pub on a Friday night, want to play football on a Saturday morning, want to go and have a fry up on a Sunday with the kids, back to work on Monday. And again, there's nothing wrong with that.
Aye, it goes back to what you're saying. You're talking about how when you're on stage, you get to kind of express that side of yourself that maybe doesn't fit into society as well, right? Whereas these people that are living the normal life are just kind of going through it, but they've got all these thoughts, maybe that they want to express, but they don't have the right form to do it. So there's I guess it would be different for everybody because every comedian is different. Every comedian has a different style.
Yeah.
But I've always been curious as to that kind of side of it. And then I can't believe we've been talking this much without having mentioned wrestling yet. Because I'm a huge wrestling fan, so as soon as I heard...
Oh, cool, man.
Yeah. I've been to WrestleMania 3 times.
I've only been twice, and believe it or not, both to New Orleans. I'm a fucking twat. Not on purpose. I was meant to be going this year. I was meant to be going this year, but I saw everything happening. I always book my flights and book my tickets quite last minute.
Yeah.
Because you can always get, sorry Vince, you can always get tickets for WrestleMania. You don't have to, you get them in StubHub. People are full of shit. You can always get tickets. Someone's always not going. And I was meant to be going this year. And bless it, my wife had even saved up money and everything. Like it was all taken care of. I was flying, the flight was all done. But then this stuff had happening, and I was like, maybe hang on.
Yeah.
Maybe hang on.
Cool.
And gutted.
I was gutted as well. Watching WrestleMania with no fans was a really strange experience, to be honest.
Do you know, I'd have given anything for this fucking Thunderdome shite, but no, it's fine. I mean, it's actually quite good looking, actually. But I watch AEW with the fans there, even from the, I know they're miles away. Yeah. Like, I know they're all like spread out in this huge arena, but part of me's like, oh, God damn it, I wish we'd had that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because we were talking about the difference between like stand up and radio.
Yeah.
But maybe you wonder how does commentating fit into that for ICW?
Well, do you know, it's quite funny because I guess when a few years ago, I was just like, oh, fuck it, just go for it. But over the last couple of years, I have reined it in slightly, despite some people maybe having a hard time believing that. I have reined it in slightly. I'm a commentator for an over 18s wrestling company. So I feel that I have no ability to be a straight man. Neither am I meant to. I mean, the two roles in commentary, you've got a straight, you've got like a play-by-play and a colour. I came in as a colour guy, and the guy that was our straight man kind of left, and I had various different partners over the years who have all been great. But I've never really changed my style, apart from the fact is I know that I need to tell the story a bit more.
Yeah.
Which is something you learn. Like, it's not like anyone turned around and went, you need to do this. It's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I wish I was a bad guy color commentator because I fucking rock that shit. But I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. And again, it's actually kind of funny because I guess the radio presenter and the comedian are probably smashed into each other to be the commentator, because there's one guy there goes, well, I know that this is how a link goes, and I know that this is how this is going to go. And then there's the comedian is just like, fuck it, let's go for it. And the thing is, man, it's like, Kieran, I fucking, people say, one of the things I like about your commentary is you sound so excited and you sound so passionate about it. Oh, that must be really hard to replicate. And it's like, I fucking love wrestling. Like, it is not hard for me at all. I absolutely love it. And oh god, yeah, Gutty doesn't go to Mania, but wrestling's interesting right now, I think.
Because I think it's more popular than it's been in a while. I mean, that's ICW just got into the WWE network as well. I seen
we
that.
Did, yeah, we did. So that's quite mind blowing. I mean, I think I've had a couple of cameos on the WWE network, but it's always been like packages for people. Like, I think like I turned up in a Finn Balor package going, one of the best wrestlers in the world. And clearly somebody in America went, we're fucking having that, and on it goes. And I think I've turned up in a couple of ones. So, because I can always tell, because I'll wake up in the morning and my Twitter's gone wild.
Yeah.
People are going, oh, fuck me, you were just on the network. So, but for ICW to get its place on the biggest pro wrestling network in the world is just for the men and women, the crew, for Mark Dallas, for all the people that have been involved, Scott Reed, Andrew Wason, like all the folk that make stuff happen behind the scenes. For all those people, Adam Carell, I am made up that everyone's getting to see the amazing work that they've done, and the talent in the rings. I'm just delighted. And for me to play my small part, and it is a small part. I mean, I was convinced they were going to take my commentary off. I was completely convinced they were going to take my commentary off, and there was going to be subtitles. I'm just made up for them, man. Absolutely made up for them.
No, I mean, how big a part do you think ICW have played in the rise in British wrestling?
I think, without being disrespectful to any of the other wrestling companies in the UK, I've said this before and I'll say again, I'll stand by it. It probably pisses a lot of people off, but I happen to believe that the rise, the reinvention started in ICW. I firmly believe there was definitely a rebuild happening after the really early 2000s when we kind of tried and it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You think with the likes of the Vice documentary and then Insane Fight Club and those early couple of clips of ICW over 18 stuff going viral and people finding it cool again and other people, I firmly believe that it started. Then there was Progress in London, who were not far behind us, but they recognised that there was a market there as well, probably around about the same time. I think it's probably neck and neck there. I'd probably say if it's not ICW, it's ICW and Progress, but it's from two different ends of the country. So you know what I mean? It's like, could be a different fucking world. But I think ICW is very, very important. One of the front runners in rebuilding wrestling as a bona fide thing in the UK. And the fact that people come all around the world now to wrestle here, which they've always done, but the fact that, see that distance over the Atlantic, that became a lot smaller.
Yeah.
Like, that became a lot smaller. I believe that's because of ICW.
Your McIntyre is a very good example of that.
Fucking what? A boy from here, just up the road, a good Ayrshire lad like me, is the fucking WWE World Heavyweight Champion. That's it. But Drew's another part of this amazing story. ICW was on the run. We were starting to sell out shows. We were selling a lot of shows, and Drew came in at a time, a crossroads, and took it to the next dimension. And ICW helped him, of course, and I know he'd recognise that. And you see that our talents get signed, and even NXT UK. It's crazy. I'm so happy for Drew. And I've shared many a car journey with Drew up and down the roads, and I always get a wee hello on my birthday. I think he remembers it because me and Wolfgang have the same birthday, so I think that's how he remembers. I think that's how he remembers. But yeah, so happy because I cannot think of anyone else in the wrestling world. He's a fucking Scottish Undertaker. He's a Scottish Hulk Hogan. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely hold him in that kind of regard. I think what's that, mate?
I hope Grado doesn't hear you say that.
Grado, listen, Grado is the Scottish Dusty Rhodes, and if anyone knows how much I love Dusty Rhodes, they'll know how high regard I hold that in. Like, I honestly think, Grado talk him into the seats, man. Grado talks him into the seats. Just one of the most all-round entertaining motherfuckers in the world. Grado, to echo your point, and you're right to pick me up on it to a degree. It's like I think Grado was a huge issue with that because he brought more people to Scottish wrestling, and this was people that were like, "What the fuck is this?" He brought people who weren't wrestling fans or people that were lapsed wrestling fans, or and I still remember the time that Grado did his first video. I think it was a feud between him and Jackie Polo that wasn't even an ICW thing, and it was him did this music montage to Like a Prayer, and I do remember thinking, I wish I'd thought of that. I wish I'd thought of that.
The whole entrance is like, see as a fan talking to you about this, right?
Right.
It's amazing watching guys like Drew, come back to ICW and then raise the profile like that. Having that match with Grado, which I thought was one of the best wrestling matches. The whole storyline to it, the whole build up to it, where Drew's going in with the belt and it's in the hydro and it's all. It was built. It was like, because wrestling, people don't understand. It was one of those things where I feel like you either love it or you're nothing it. And for me, I love it and you love it, and it's all about the story as well as about the match, which is
Do you know it's wild? But I like as a younger kid and stuff like that. I remember being like, "Oh, it's all the flips and bumps, and it's all the hitting what have you." But fuck me, man, I love a story more than anything else. Yeah. I love a story, particularly to call it as Imagine. And something that's funny because you look at Grado and you look at Drew, and you might go, "These guys never have a good match." It's like I've seen them have good matches up and down the length of this country. Like, I remember seeing them have a match in Sheffield or Nottingham or something. I remember thinking, fucking yes, Grado. Yeah. Fucking yes. And then, of course, and him and Drew just, man, they had fucking amazing chemistry. People do not give Grado enough actual accolades for the in-ring wrestler, the talent that he is for telling storylines in that ring. And I'm not sucking up to him. If he does ever get to see this, I'm not just mindlessly sucking up to him. I'll back up everything I say. I think he's an amazingly talented guy in that wrestling ring and out it. But him and Drew, man, just incredible. And I'm not. That's not taking anything away from the new wave of talents in ICW. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Noam Dar's back as champion, Stevie Boy, DCT, Jackie Polo, Mark and Joe Coffey. You think of that, and they've gone on. They've done pretty well for themselves. You think of all these talents coming through, and but it all started maybe with the talents that were there, and always the same. WWF was just WWF, and then Hulk Hogan came along.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean, and.
It's all about. It's not the wrestler. You get people like Hulk Hogan and Stone Cold that come along and chase. Like Grado was the guy that caught people's eye. Really, for me, I wouldn't know. I didn't have any idea what ICW was, and then I just seen this guy at the entrance, and I was like, "Who is that?"
But that's the cool thing about ICW, man. It attracts people for lots of different reasons. Yeah. Like, I know people would come along because of like Grado, then other people would come along because of the street fights, like the NAK, and then BT Gunn and the Bucky Boys and those early days. And then as things went on, they came along to see like Ravy Davey, and they came along to see the Purge, and they came along and seen like Polo Promotions and Joe. Everyone would always come in and out, and there would be a reason to come and see them. Yeah. Viper's fucking Viper and Kaylee Ray are fucking going viral right now because of their Queen of Insanity match, the first of its kind in this country. I probably get a tweet of that a day. Probably get a tweet a day of somebody going, "Fuck me, this is amazing." What's the Scottish guy saying?
Yeah, such a mad variety of things. It's like, I mean, he got me in, but once I got in, I was like, look at all the stuff they're doing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and that led to a bit other people as well discovering other elements of UK wrestling, like Rev Pro and Progress, and then, but that market was there, man. See, when like NXT came along in its new form, that was a form of wrestling that I went, hello, I like this. This is for me. I like this. Like, I think Tommaso Ciampa, is just fucking tremendous. There is a story to everything he does.
Some of the matches him and Gargano have had have just been out of this world, man.
Oh man, I hope he never goes to the main roster. I hope he never goes to the main roster, because you know something, he'll never be able to match the work he's doing in NXT. Like, unless they really let him go at it. But I just
before his injury, I thought he was the top heel in the business overall.
I agree, man. I think he's probably one of the best. He's easily in the top 5.
What I think is really amazing about the whole Drew's story, though, is like he's not just, because you can be a champion in WWE but still be like in the mid card now. You can be, if The Rock comes along, you're gonna have trouble. But in terms of him, he's almost the face of the company. With Reigns turning heel, when you think about when you think about WWE, the first thought I have is Drew McIntyre, which is a really amazing thing.
Well, you know something, man. I think and I'm not saying this because he's a friend. I'm not saying it because he's a friend. I think that Drew's time as champion during this COVID era is Hall of Fame. Like, history will look back on this era, and I will expect it to be nothing but honourable to the time that Drew has done. He has been a main event arena filler when he can't fill an arena. Do you know what I mean? But people are tuning in and he's doing the work of his life. Fucking hell. I don't know many other wrestlers on the planet that could have done that in the way he's done it. Yeah. And here's to you, my champion. Here's to you. Sorry, Noam. Here's to you as well.
I wanted to give people an idea of how big ICW have become and how much of a part they had to play in what WWE looks like now. And there must have been a point for you where the idea of ICW having an influence on the future of WWE must have been a wacky thought back in the day.
Do you know what? I never had any doubt that some of our talents, or some of the talents that come through ICW, but many of them that saw found their way, could make their way to something like that. And neither did they. I'm sure. Like I don't think there was any doubt in any time in Drew's mind that I'm going to fucking main event WrestleMania. But it is mind blowing because it seems so far away. And don't get me wrong, it's like we're part. I'm a small part of a very, very big machine, and WWE is then its own machine on top of ICW. But it just shows you how clever they are. Like I have no doubt in my mind that one day Triple H, I'm going to say Triple H because I just get the feeling it would have been him. I don't know Mr. McMahon, and would be terrified to meet him. So hopefully that never happens, because I think the first thing I say, who's this Scottish prick? And fire him. He doesn't work here. Hire him, then fire him. I get the feeling that he probably saw that main event between Drew, those shows at the SECC, those shows at the Hydro, and he went, look at that. Look at those fans, because it's what the fans are all about. Look at those fans. Why aren't our fans like that? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? And then NXT was born. So and for the idea of some of our guys, like it blows my mind that Grado's on the WWE Network. I think it's fucking amazing. The Bucky, it's Stevie Boy's on the WWE Network. I think that's all amazing. The idea is that I hope so one day that there'll be a crossover for those guys. I would give nothing else. I would love it if there was an NXT takeover when worlds collide. Team ICW.
That would be like the same way they did with the invasion angle and all that. They could do that with. That'd be amazing. But
Team ICW. Team ICW. Let's do it. Team ICW.
I mean, that would be. I would be up for watching that. I mean,
if they want to bring me down to ringside to co-commentate the match as an expert, then I'm more than happy to. But I imagine they've got it covered.
As you were saying that, like dream matches popped in my head when you were saying that. One of them, the first time that popped in my head was Grado against Valentine Dream. For some reason,
Grado versus Velveteen Dream.
Aye.
God.
That would be a match, man. That would be talk about two characters and two really top workers together. That would be interesting to watch.
See,
put it out there, put it out the universe.
I love. That's hard because I've got these two versions of Grado. I can tell there's the entertainer and there's and there's a Cactus Grado, as I like to call him, when he gets serious. So it's a hard one, man. If we can have them in... If we can have... God, that's a hard one. Do you know who's one of my favourite wrestlers on the planet? It's Kyle O'Reilly. And I'll tell you this why, because Kyle O'Reilly is not only fucking amazing, but he's silly as shit, and I think that's fucking incredible. The fact that he comes down playing that air guitar, if you just watch him, the guy's a selling machine. I love him a bit. He's not in one of my dream matches. I'll take Grado versus Velveteen Dream if we can have 2 matches. I want a bunkhouse match and I want a straight wrestling match. I'll take both. If I get one where Grado can show what he can do as well, I'll fucking take that. But then I'll have Stevie Boy versus Seth Rollins.
Stevie Boy, that would be a fun match.
That would be fucking incredible. Or if Seth's busy, Stevie Boy's versus I forgot his name. Murphy versus Murphy, because I think that would be fucking off the chain.
It's really enjoyable to talk about wrestling sometimes, because it's one of those things where as you get older, you're like, that should I be telling people that?
Oh fuck no, man! I've got absolutely no shame. Fucking wrestling's been good to me, and I hope we can continue to have fun in the wrestling world. I hope we can continue to have fun.
I can't wait for the fans to come back. I mean, it got me wondering who do you, when you're commentating, do you is there a commentator where you look at and you can have go, that was sort of the person I'm looking at to be like, if you know what I mean, or you just
no, I'd be honest, I think I've just got my favourites. I think I've just got my favourites. I mean, I loved Jesse Ventura back in the day. I guess I'm a little mix of a couple. Bobby Heenan. You know, Bobby Heenan, people could say, oh, he was just a gag machine. He was just a heel guy, but he knew how to tell a story, man. And so did Jesse Ventura. Those are my 2 guys. Although got a lot of time for, obviously, Jim Ross is the daddy. How could people not ever say that Jim Ross is the number one? And he told a good story, so I would probably say it's those 3 guys. I don't necessarily say I am like them, but I think there's certain elements of what they do that are going to be in there. Yeah. So I would say that's yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now, and I never thought it's cool because I never thought I'd actually have the chance to tell you this. Your commentary does make a huge difference to the match. It was something that drew me in because I was like, that guy's a good commentator. Like a good commentator makes such a big difference. It makes such a big difference, especially when it's about, because wrestling's all about how the story's been told. So your job is to say why this is all came about, and if you don't do that right, then why should, if the commentator's not invested in the match, why should I be? So
that's really nice of you to say, man. I get enough shit from wrestlers and other people that makes a big difference. I really appreciate that. I really, but I'm nothing without the likes of Dallas and Scott and the guys backstage who make it such a joy, such a genuine joy. You're like, I never want anyone ever. I'm the same with stand up. I don't ever want you turning up and thinking that I am not here and not 100% invested, and you getting back every fucking penny. Like I want you invested every second. Don't get me wrong, I make mistakes. I fucking make mistakes. But I really appreciate that, man. It's very kind of you to say.
What? So how
shy now? I'm shy. I don't know what to say. Okay. Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Okay. I've given my compliment now. He's like, I don't know what to say now. But it made me wonder when you were talking now. How did you actually get involved with Mark and the whole ICW scene?
All right. I'll surmise it very quick. It's an interesting story. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. That's just a literal fact. I'm a lifelong wrestling fan. I'm one of my best mates in comedy is Neil Bratchpiece, who's the wee man.
Oh yeah.
And I was aware of ICW before I came into ICW. And what happened was, excuse me, Wee Man had become involved with the company. And I went, sorry, people are having a conversation on a fucking group chat. I'm just trying to shut that down. Wee Man became involved with the company. I came and saw him. He used to be in Saturday nights. And one of the big problems about that was, I can't a gig on a Saturday night, and I wouldn't be able. I came and went and saw him do a show, and me and him actually started doing a wrestling podcast together at one point. It didn't last very long for various different reasons, because that wrestling podcast became a radio show. And then I did the radio show for a wee bit, and then I went, well, I'm not doing this anymore. But anyway, during that period, they kept getting guest comedians in to be ring announcers, right? Right? And there were a couple of mates of mine done it, but the problem was they were just comedians looking for a gig. I fucking love wrestling, right? And the guy that was due to do it couldn't do it. So Neil asked me, and I was like, are you fucking shitting me? Yeah, sure. So I turned up. Mark was really, really amazing. Said, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go out. You're going to be a ring announcer. You're going to go out and start the show. You all right with that? I went, yeah, I think I've got that. And, give you all the details of who you've got to announce and all that. And then I want you to turn on the crowd and start giving them shit. I was like, I am fucking ready. I am fucking ready. So I come out to start the show. And the first thing you need to bear in mind is, as I'm approaching the wrestling ring, I remember going, I've never gone to a wrestling ring before. Like, I've physically never gone to a wrestling ring before. So I get, if the video is out there somewhere, I get into it a really, like, a Jake the Snake way, like, under the bottom rope. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? But it was in a classic grand, and I got on the mic, and the guy that was in the ring who had introduced me, the first things I said to him was, get to fuck, right? And I didn't realise that those guys didn't really like that ring announcer very much. So they all started shouting, get to fuck, get to
really?
fuck. Right, so I get the mic, and I don't really know what to do. So as I am a wrestling fan, and he said, do a couple of minutes and then turn on the crowd. So what I did is I thought, I'm going to make them laugh. I'm going to make them give a shit, and then I'm going to turn on them. Because I figure it's a one-shot deal. Fuck it. So I literally started telling some jokes, some wrestling jokes. And I don't even remember what they were. But even apparently the guys that were filming it that night were like, hang on, this guy knows what he's talking about. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And he told me that after they start giving me shit, after I start giving them shit, they're going to play a video. So I'm telling wrestling jokes for like 3 minutes or so. And it's going well. I can remember. And just as I'm about to pick on a guy in the front row, the video plays by accident. So the heel turn never came.
All right.
The heel turn never came. So I announced the rest of the matches. The Bucky Boys chased me off at one point. And that's that, really. And then the following month, he went, do you want to come back and do it again? So I think I was technically a bad guy ring announcer, but then I just couldn't help myself making folk laugh.
Yeah.
And then I really enjoyed it. And then he said, listen, we got a TV deal with an online channel called My Channel. It wasn't very good, but it was online. And he said, do you fancy being the ring announcer? Do you fancy being the commentator for that? And I was like, I'd fucking love to be. I'd absolutely fucking love to be. And that is how I became involved with ICW. That's
you've literally
luck.
You have literally just described a dream of mine.
Oh wow!
You know
So
what
it's
I mean?
like,
as in, like,
kid.
Somebody saying to you, go out and cut a promo for a few minutes, I'd be like, yes, please, let's do it.
But I think the fact that I was respectful, and I don't know, I assume I still am. I mean, if anyone thinks I'm not, by all means, put me right. But I think the fact that I was respectful and you had to deal with myself, I think Mark was, and the fact that I like to think I'm not a dick. I'm sure I've got dick tendencies, but I like to think I'm not a dick. And Mark's one of my best mates now. And I'll do anything for the boy. I'll do anything.
I mean, honestly, see if ICW came to me and said, we got a spot for you, but we want you to jump off a Hell in a Cell through a table that's on fire, I'd be like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. Don't do that, Kieran. Don't do that, Kieran.
But the reason why I mentioned that is it brings me to this point of, do you think people understand how difficult it is to take those bumps and be a wrestler?
No, I don't. It's funny because, like, I played rugby competitive rugby up until I was about 29. 30 actually, and then I lost a lot of weight, and then I realised, well, I'm not very good at rugby when I'm skinny, so I gave it up. And I can remember the pounding I took there, but I honestly don't think people get it because there's so much training that needs to go into it. Oh, it's this, oh, it's that, and well, it might be predetermined and it might be a storyline, but these are, like, you're seeing a real life action movie happen in front of your very eyes. You're seeing it happen in front of your very eyes. The thing these men and women do to put their bodies on the line is incredible. I've only done a small amount of wrestling training, and that was to put my money where my mouth was. The GPWA, which is run by Red Lightning or Andrew Mason, who runs Wrestling Experience Scotland, and BT Gunn and Jack Jester, and of course Adrian Lionheart. He was involved with that as well, and I did it just because I was curious. I had no interest, zero of doing a match, but I thought I had to learn. And even during that period, I mean, I got injured even during that period. I don't think, but I think it's also kind of cool. It's like a comedian when somebody goes, "Oh, I could get up there and do that." Yeah, they make it look easy. They make it look easy, spectacular, but everyone thinks they can do that, and that's part of why you watch. You know, like it's why you watch Die Hard. You go, "Fuck, that's what I would do if I was in that situation." No, you wouldn't. No, you fucking wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very much the same thing. I think most wrestling fans have a real genuine respect for it, and for little kids, it's just about, wow, look at this, like a Dominic Mysterio, who is fucking brilliant, by the way. So
we had talked about wrestling because I was thinking that as we're talking about wrestling and the ICW and everything like that, people might be listening to this thinking, but what is the deal with wrestling? Why should I take it seriously? Because it is predetermined, is that? But it's also, so it's worth pointing out the fact that this is, it's not an easy thing to be a wrestler, to take those bumps and how much pain they go through and how much they actually have to deal with to perform the way that they perform.
Yeah, that's it. I think some people, oh God, you give me a fright. Hello. I'll give you a hug if you want. Do you want a hug? Good boy. Right, is that you hinting that I've got to finish up soon? All right, leave Kieran. Kieran can see you.
Hello.
You want to say hello again? Right, here we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Right, away you go. Come on. That's my phone. Right, I've got to get on, buddy. I'll be out in 2 minutes, okay? Excuse me. But I mean, he doesn't like wrestling, so he's a big disappointment to me. I'll say that much. The kids don't like wrestling, and it's breaking my fucking heart. And I've tried everything. And I don't like any of it. Even made them watch that Slam City stuff on the network, which was guff.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there we go.
Yeah, the Slam City stuff was great. But
I looked into that light and I've got a big yellow dot, a big green dot there right now, and it's like, what the fuck?
There's a couple of things I wanted to kind of touch on with you there, which was you run and this is ideal because your kid just came in there. You have a theatre business with it's called Poison Apple Productions.
I do, yes.
And one of the things that I was talking to a mutual friend Scott, and one of the things I found really interesting about it was he was saying how you do it in order for kids and to be able to afford to go and see these kind of things. And that to me was a really really hit me, and I just wondered as to why that how did that whole idea come about for you, and why was that the reason behind it?
It comes from lots of different places. I hate the idea of things being elitist, and I hate the idea of things being inaccessible, whether it be for performers or whether it be for audiences. Like I know for a fact, like when I live in Ayrshire, I know there's some amazing talents here, and I know some amazing talents that don't get an opportunity because maybe they've not taken a certain path into something or whatever. And originally the idea is like, well, why should someone have to go and spend £100 for a family ticket, 2 bottles of juice and a couple of packets of crisps to go and see a panto elsewhere? What if we can give them as well written? Maybe the production isn't as extravagant, but it's it doesn't matter because it's going to be just as enjoyable. It's going to be just as fantastic. But maybe it's a lot more affordable. Yes. And maybe it means that you can come and see our show. You can bring a family of 5. Juice and Chris are a tuck shop that we are. So like literally I will go to the fucking Booker Cash and Carry and physically get it myself. And we get a set up outside. We have people selling it. But no one's doing anything for free. Everybody gets paid. Everyone gets paid the same amount. Is on the production, whether or not. So there's someone like me who is writing it and helping produce it and is acting in it. I get the same as somebody that comes on is on stage for 20 minutes. I get the same wage as that person.
Oh, yeah, I see, yeah.
And so the audience, we're getting good numbers of audiences. Hell, last year we gave away at least 300-400 tickets to food banks and to after school clubs. Just the idea that, because then they're like, oh, we can't afford a bus and to go up to Glasgow and see a show there. But it's like, all right, well, what if your kids don't have to worry about Chris and Juice, you don't have to worry about your tickets. Can you do a bus then? Oh yeah, we could afford a bus. Let's give you a panto. And that's really what we wanted to say, what we wanted to do. So, and these performers that, like I say, I was like, I don't have any credits. Like, I can't get into this because I don't have any credits. Well, come and work for us, and then you have a credit. You've got stage time. You've got all these important aspects. Even if you've never done anything in theatre, see if you're keen and you're motivated, come and do it for us. Then you can tell someone else, oh, by the way, I did stage production for Poison Apple in Ayrshire. Like, I know about this, I know about that, I know about this, I know about that. And that's really what we wanted to do, and to give it, to have a local identity and be good fun. And that's the theory behind it.
I think what you've done with it is amazing, and your whole ethos behind it is something that was missing in terms of it. When I think about kids missing out on things because they can't afford it and nobody really does anything about it. So for you to be doing that it's really quite inspiring,
If we could get funding for it, we would do it for free, but we can't, so we can't. It's one of those things. Not yet, anyway.
Hopefully, the more you put out there, the more somebody will hear you say stuff like that and be as kind of in awe with it as I am just now, because it was really quite motivating.
I hope so, but as well as that, we're a working company. We're on hold just now. Obviously, we can't do much, but as we get into the start of next year, we're going to do something for Christmas this year. We obviously can't do a panto, but we're going to do something, and then we'll have more online thing, and hopefully we can build towards more stuff. That's the plan anyway. So fingers crossed.
See the whole perspective you have on how you talk about your.
Sorry, 1 second, Kieran. I've literally got like a couple of minutes left. That's my wife chasing me up. I do beg your pardon.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that you were obviously in a kind of life-changing car accident in 2015, and I wondered how much that affected your perspective that you have now and how you see things.
I think it comes back to me in waves. Like, I would have loved that adrenaline I had straight after it when I'm fucking all right, never a dull moment again. But that's not how real life works. That's how life works in the movies. No, it certainly did have a lot of perspective on me. I drive a lot more careful. But it certainly did. It certainly did, because life is precious. My wife at that time would have been pregnant with her second child. I had just got pregnant with her second child, so that could have been a really tragic story. And so I do count myself as being. I remind myself how lucky I am a lot. And to get back to talking about mental health, and sometimes you completely lose that and you become so selfish and wrapped up in the black cloud of your own mind, but to remind yourself that you are lucky. Like, no certainty in life by any stretch of the imagination, but you're lucky because you're here and you wake up every morning, and particularly in these times, with everything going on, reminds me how lucky I am. And I think that's a really fitting point to finish on, to be honest. And cool. I didn't die in an accident. That's a good night.
No, I just mean in the sense of, like, every day is a new opportunity. You can have the worst of your life followed by the best of your life.
Yeah, do you know something? There's nothing more annoys me more than a wasted day, and I'm sure I waste plenty, but there is nothing that annoys me more than a wasted day. But this hasn't been wasted. This has been great. I've really, really enjoyed this. This has been awesome.
Where can people find you then? Where would be the best place to go?
Well, what I can tell you is right now, obviously, comedy gigs aren't live here in Scotland. Hopefully they will be soon. I believe I'm going down to England to do some over the next month or so. So you can check out that. But failing that, get details about where you can see me live when we do go live. And I'm also doing online stuff. The best place to find me is Billy Kirkwood Comedian on Facebook, or at Billy Kirkwood on Twitter. I should have a website. I still don't really see the point of it. Everyone tells me you need a website, but the best place to find me right now is Facebook and Twitter. I tend to put what I'm going on doing. I tend to just talk shite from time to time, but find me there, Instagram, all the places you normally would. More than happy to chat anytime.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. I've laughed a lot during it as well, which is always good for the soul, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, man. It's all we've got left in some days, but a good giggle gets you through.
No, I really appreciate that. Again, hopefully we can do it down the line as well. You were a lot of fun to talk to, and hopefully this is getting to. I would love to get to know you more off the stage and as we go forward.
Let's do it. Why the fuck not? This is just chapter 1.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.